I just finished episode 3, Metamorphosis, and I'm honestly still reeling.
I know, right? For me, that title perfectly captured what I was seeing.
It hit me how every character was going through it. Nibs' whole identity crisis was intense for me.
And Kirsh, I couldn't believe his arrogance, thinking he's a higher species.
What I really liked was getting to know the supporting cast more. It added so much depth for me. The world feels bigger now. My focus was really on Kirsch and this responsibility he's taking on.
I definitely got the sense he's starting to believe he's more than human.
I felt so bad for Joe. They treated him like a lab rat. It horrified me. They're just taking him apart to build a cyborg. That shot of the medical monitor really drove home how horrifying it was for me.
I think that's the point. I see them as just spare parts now.
For me, this episode built on the last two perfectly. I can see all the conflicts breeding. I feel like these tensions are going to explode later in the season. I have to talk about that ending. It was insane.
I agree, but I should warn everyone, I'm about to spoil everything.
I've been thinking about the title Alien Earth and what it really means.
Yeah, for me, the ending of episode 3 explains so much about that.
My biggest takeaway was what happened with Nibs.
I know. I felt like her story, even with just a few scenes, was so powerful.
Especially after that terrifying moment with Species 64. My heart stopped. I thought it was going to leap right on her face. After that, I completely understand why she's questioning everything.
I would be too. I'd be asking, why can't I keep my name? What am I?
I keep forgetting these are basically kids' minds in adult robot bodies. Exactly. So of course I'd expect her to have all these questions. I remember she was terminally ill, right? On the edge of death.
And now look at her. I can't imagine how confusing that must be.
And that final scene of hers, when I saw her in the mirror, I got chills when I heard that flashback. When do we get to go home? That reply, "You don't," was just brutal. My heart broke for her.
It told me she misses who she was, even if she was dying.
At least then, I think she felt like she had a family and an identity.
And now, from my perspective, that's all been taken.
When she poked her own eye, I literally flinched.
I knew it was synthetic, but it showed me just how disconnected she feels from that body.
It immediately made me think of the alien in the jar from earlier. I thought the same thing. That close-up on its eye wasn't an accident. My theory is that she saw herself in that creature.
I think you're right. To her, she's as much of an alien as it is. And it made me realize they're all trapped in a bigger jar, you know?
That's a great way to put it. I feel like she's imprisoned in her own skin. Her mind is fighting her body. I'm worried about what that means for her.
That brings me to Kirsch and his own bizarre transformation.
I find his whole superiority arc fascinating.
I was glued to the screen when he took over collecting the specimens. The key moment for me was Kavalier's line.
I thought you were supposed to be better than a man. That lit a fire under him.
Oh yeah, I saw it in his eyes. He took that as a challenge.
I think he's now on a mission to prove he is better than a man.
He started acting like the one in charge, and it worried me.
I noticed that too, especially with the debate over who was in charge. I even saw him watching Smee and Slightly like he was their proud father.
I think he sees himself as their creator, their leader now.
I'm convinced it's part of his plan. That's why I think he operated on the Xeno egg. And then I saw him bond it with Joe's lung. To me, he was treating Joe like a set of Legos, just picking out the parts he wanted.
So cold. I think he's becoming something that's not human at all.
I also need to talk about Mr. Morrow's journey to find Kavalier. Wow, that was a whole other level of messed up for me. That riddle he told Slightly felt like another clue about who's really superior.
Morrow is obsessed. I can't get over that his mission is 65 years old. I could really feel his guilt over what happened to his crew.
I don't think a normal human would have made that sacrifice. He called his feelings the worst parts of man, then just deleted them. I was shocked.
He's literally erasing his humanity to be a better soldier. I feel like he gave up his soul to become a machine for the company.
And the way he talked about his daughter, I felt his pain so deeply. He's definitely a threat to Kavalier, and I think he's using slightly.
I have no doubt he's trying to use him to get inside. But then I think about Wendy again. What did I just witness at the end?
That was probably my favorite scene of the entire episode. That image of the dissected alien on the floor and Wendy with the blade.
I know. I thought that shot was just epic, so memorable.
I spent most of the episode worried about Wendy on that table. I was sure they were trying to reprogram her or something after the fight. When I saw her wake up, I was relieved. Then she followed that creepy chirping sound.
A sound that I realized no one else could hear, which made me wonder, did she even leave the table?
My theory is that she projected herself there. I never saw her get up. Nobody else reacted. Kirsh didn't see her fall. I think the whole thing might have been a psychic event in her mind.
That really speaks to the connection I think she has with the aliens.
I agree. She's feeling their pain as Kirsh is dissecting them. It's because, to me, they're the same. They're both prisoners being tested on.
The hybrid and the alien? I see them as connected by a common enemy. So, my final review of the episode?
For me, it was incredible. Probably my favorite show on FX since Shogun. I was blown away by the visuals this week.
I can tell they put so much effort into the cinematography, and it paid off. That fight between Wendy and the Xeno was a huge highlight for me.
Although I have to admit, I thought Joe was being a little foolish. And the music, that 80s guitar riff was a perfect choice for me.
It totally set the tone. It felt like a classic sci-fi horror film. I also loved how the mood shifted when the specimens arrived.
Yes, I felt this sense of dread wash over everything. What did you think about the tension between Kavalier and Curly?
I picked up on that. I think Curly is jealous of Wendy. I get the feeling she wants to be Kavalier's favorite and will do anything for it.
I think that's going to lead to some serious drama. I just love how many different stories they're telling at once.
And they all tie back to what I see as the main themes, life and who controls it. Nibs' story just broke my heart. She's trying so hard to find herself.
I know. The way she was so quiet, I felt like her silence said everything. I have a feeling she's going to snap eventually.
I'm really curious to see what her breaking point is. For me, it's all about these personal transformations happening under insane pressure.
And I can't forget there's a giant alien monster lurking around. I feel like I have more questions now than when I started.
And I love that. I can't wait to see what happens next.
To me, it all comes down to control. Who has it and what are they doing with it?
And who's going to decide the future of what's left of humanity? I also have to shout out the sound design, the alarms, the chirping.
It kept me on the edge of my seat the whole time. I feel like I could re-watch this and find so many new things.
I see the personal struggles, but also the corporate evil behind it all.
I don't think they're just creating soldiers. I think they're creating a new form of life.
And I'm starting to see the consequences of that.
This show gives me classic Alien vibes, but it also feels so new.
It has the body horror, but I also feel this deep existential horror.
So what do you think Kirsch's final goal is? My theory is that he wants to create the perfect being, better than any human or alien, and I think he wants to be the father of this new race.
A very dangerous game for him to be playing, in my opinion.
I have to say, the tension building in this show is masterful. I feel like each episode gives me another piece of a giant, terrifying puzzle. I'm still stuck on that image of Nibs looking at her reflection.
For me, that moment of realization was just so haunting. I could almost see the terrified child inside her lost in this new body.
I thought it was such a powerful metaphor for losing yourself. That's the real tragedy I see in all the hybrids.
I know. They were saved from dying, but I feel like they were put in a new prison. A prison with better amenities, but it's still a prison.
I could honestly talk about the themes in this show all day, but that's all the time I have for my thoughts on Metamorphosis.
I'm sure I'll have more to say after the next episode. I can't wait.
I'll leave our listeners with this. In space, no one can hear you scream.
Except Wendy, from what I've seen. But can we go back to Joe's fate for a second?
What they did to him was so brutal. I wasn't expecting it. I watched him go from a human survivor to just raw material for Kirsh.
That was the most literal and gruesome metamorphosis I've seen in a while. He basically became a living symbol of Kirsch's ambition for me.
And I see him as a warning of what could happen to any of them. That scene with the lung and the alien core gave me nightmares.
It was a truly unsettling visual. I don't think I'll forget it. And I also think Morrow's story is a great contrast to the hybrids.
They're struggling with their new bodies, and I see him trying to get rid of his humanity. To him, I think emotion is just a flaw to be erased.
It's his version of being better than a man, and it's terrifying to me.
I see him as this soldier who's lost everything and wants to be a machine.
But I feel like that pain is still in there, no matter how much he tries to delete it.
Which, in my opinion, makes his obsession with the mission even more dangerous.
He has nothing left to lose. I think he's capable of anything.